heartbreaking ending. For joking overly with friends. This story was told by a friend named Tan. That incident haunted T for a long time. It was a group of 12th grade students, including B.A. Nam and two girls playing together, in which T and B were the closest friends in this group one day. They discussed going to Tien's house to play because it was the flood season. Tien's house was located in a remote area, so the water would flood the entire field. They mainly invited each other to go to T's house to play too. Go swimming in the river together, because this group of them only lived outside the town. So when they got into the field, they saw the water flooding, clearing the entire field, and the boat could run right on the field. They were very excited. Then the Juice led this group of friends to the back of the house, where T's father usually leaves the boat there, and then they started going down there to bathe. They were playing and bathing for a while. Then suddenly this guy started screaming. He struggled up, as if someone was pulling his legs down, making the whole group panic. Then they dived down to find him, but they couldn't find him all day. At this time they searched and couldn't find him. Then the girls started crying. Then suddenly Fong was struck by lightning. Where was he? He raised his head and laughed so hard. At this time the whole group started to feel so angry that they wanted to turn their guts over. That's when the whole group started scolding, saying, "Oh my God, what kind of joke are you doing? You're joking like this isn't fun, we're scared. But what kind of joke are you doing at this time?" They stopped for a few seconds. Then the guy carrying him also knew it was joking too much, so it also apologized to everyone. Then suddenly it uttered a sentence that made everyone goosebumps. It said, "Oh, then tomorrow, for example, if I really die, then will you guys find me like this again?" At this time, the whole group yelled at it again, saying, "Oh my God, stop talking nonsense. Okay, now go down and continue bathing. Don't joke like that anymore. You can play after a while." Then the guy T suggested, "Okay, now the whole group stopped swimming. Let's go to the shore and play hide and seek together. Okay, you guys hide. I'll go find you." The whole group agreed. At this time, the guy T sat on the boat, covered his face, and started counting. At this time, the four remaining people each found a place to hide. Some climbed up a tree, some crawled down under a bush. 6 vases saw for it to hide. Under there was only one guy. Boy. Just now, suddenly don't know what he was thinking. He went down, he dived under the bottom of the boat, but where Tien was sitting, he dived under there, he hid. When the count was finished, then T started looking, finding. The rest was very easy. But only B now, he disappeared again. Can't find him. Now looking for him forever. Can't find him. When we came out, then we thought, where is B playing pranks like Chang just now? Because we were too tired of this kid's pranks. Then they shouted down. Then he said, "Let's go up." "Man, we're done playing. What game do you play all the time?" But at this time the response was silence. Fong disappeared, can't find him anywhere. We shouted down the river again. They said, "Let's go up, you keep hiding. We're going up, we're going to pick fruit to eat you. But if you don't come up, we'll eat it all. You'll have to bear it." But the response is still silence. Fong is nowhere to be seen at this time. The whole group just left to pick mangoes, and left B there without bothering to look for him. But we didn't know that B, when he crawled down to the bottom of the boat, he was hiding under there. He had cramps and couldn't come up. And so B's unintentional prank made the whole group, his friends, leave him in that cold river for a long time after we went out there to pick mangoes and ate all the mangoes. Fong still didn't come up, and we didn't know if he had gone home yet. And why didn't we see him come out at this time? The whole group knew something was wrong, so they pulled each other to the bathing place. A while ago, the boys jumped into the river and dived to look for them. And the girls, he brought along some river so that he could go and see if this guy was hiding somewhere under the bushes of 6 vases. They searched and searched, but couldn't find him. So the whole group started to seek help from the neighbors. Everyone started diving and searching, until about 2 hours later, they finally found the body of the guy who was stuck at the bottom of the boat. Everyone was extremely scared. As for the rest of us, he just stood there frozen, looking at the body of his friend. In their hearts, they felt extremely regretful for accidentally leaving his friend lying below. As for T, he felt like he was about to collapse. because his best friend was hiding right at the foot of the boat that he was sitting on. And he still didn't know starting. They contacted B's family to bring his body back for burial about a week later. The whole group went back to school as usual at this time. In front of the Tano, one dared to mention that story anymore. At this time, when he lost his best friend, he was like a soulless person. His wife began to become thin and pale. He began to study sand. From then on, strange things continued to happen to this group of friends. One day when T was going to the toilet, he heard B in the next room. He was crying, and he was sobbing, making us scared to death. One day when someone came home from school, suddenly he discovered that he had forgotten something in the classroom. He returned to the classroom alone. He was about to leave the classroom. Suddenly the classroom door slammed shut. It locked and couldn't be opened. He had to bang the door loudly for others to hear before they helped him. Countless strange things happened to this group of friends, but most of them were small. Only the best friend of Bois, the one who had the most terrible thing happen that day, was exactly B's 49th day. Then the whole group went to his house to burn incense. For when T stood in front of the altar to burn incense for B, he discovered that it was like B's portrait was staring at his eyes. What was even more terrifying was that they saw 2 streams of murky water in B's eyes. It slowly flowed down. At first he just collapsed, then he slowly crawled out. At this time the whole group didn't understand what was happening because only T's brother saw it. They didn't see it. That night T was sleeping suddenly in his daze. Then he saw B appear. He stood outside the room door. He looked at T with a pair of cloudy eyes, but B's face was extremely angry. B just shouted, he just said why were you closest to me that day? You are my best friend. Why did you leave me? You didn't come looking for me. At this moment was extremely scared. He wanted to say out so he could apologize to B, but at this moment his throat was blocked. His whole body was stiff. He couldn't do anything at this moment. Then B continued. He said, I'm very cold down here. I want you to go with Meso. You know how cold I feel. After saying then B disappeared. At this moment, T's whole body felt relieved, but he was extremely scared of that threat from his friend. The next morning when he went to school, he was so scared. He didn't dare tell anyone about this because he was afraid of involving the others and told. From that day on, the numb guy always felt like his shoulders were very tired, like someone was pressing 2 rocks on his shoulders, so his friends also noticed. At this time, the numb guy, he no longer walked straight like before, and his back started to bend like an old man. When asked how, the numb guy just answered that his shoulders hurt. One day the whole class had a physics practice, so the whole class moved down to the practice room to study. Just entered the classroom. T chose a seat right at the foot of the ceiling, fan right above his head. When the teacher just entered the classroom, he turned on the fan switch and the fan just started spinning. Suddenly the ceiling fan fell. It fell right at the foot of T's head, causing him to faint. Luckily the ceiling fan just started moving a little, but if it had spun strongly, then who knows what would have happened to T. The school would have considered repairing this fan, because generally speaking, this fan was already old. This case is not what anyone wanted. That time T was only slightly injured, nothing was affected, but his shoulder was still aching. It felt like he had to carry a very heavy bag, or he had to carry AI on his back for a long time. His shoulder was very heavy. About a week after the injury to the ceiling fan, he went back to school. Normally, that day when he went to school, when Ra was out of school, just Ra got to the garage, they discovered Ra had dropped the key. Then he went back to class. He searched everywhere but still couldn't find it. When he opened his bag, Ra found the key inside the bag. But strangely, why just now, down there in the garage, looking in the bag but couldn't find the key. But when going to class, found the key in the bag at this time. All the students in the school had gone home in the school at this time. There was only him and the parking attendant downstairs in the garage when he went to class. He found the key. He just started going down to the garage to get his bike and go home. When he got close to the garage, the parking attendant was startled and ran over to him and asked. The parking attendant looked behind the guy's back, asked, "What's wrong with this guy? Why do you have to carry him at this time?" T was surprised he didn't know who this guy was asking, because looking around that campus, there was only him and the parking attendant. Who else was there that the guy asked that? He just asked the parking attendant, and he asked, "Duy Chu is that just pointed behind the said Duy?" I said, "This guy you are carrying on your back, who else?" He asked, "What are you doing?" Carrying him, and his face was so green, only then did he really understand why his shoulder was always heavy and tired. Was because the guy carried his friend home and carried him on his back. Just thinking about it made him weak. His limbs, he sat down and cried like a child. At this time, the security guard saw that and tried to contact the principal and asked the principal, contact his family to bring him home. But when he got home, he just sat still. He couldn't cry anymore. It was all over. His grandfather saw that. He just asked what was wrong with him. He started telling him everything. "Listen," Grandpa just said, "Okay, then Reese, tomorrow morning, you go early with Grandpa the next morning." Then Grandpa took the bus to take him down to Long Shuyan to find Teacher 6. This teacher was also a close friend of Grandpa when entering that house. Then Teacher 6 said, when he was alive, this guy, B, was very competitive, so when he died, he didn't have the heart to go first. His resentment was still very heavy, so he came back here to take revenge on Grandpa's grandson. That night, Grandpa 6 set up an altar called T to sit there. Then, Grandpa 6 started to read the spell T said. When the teacher finished reading the spella, his whole body convulsed, and then he didn't know anything anymore. Until after he woke up, he heard Grandpa tell when Grandpa 6 he banished the spirit. That guy B came up. Then he asked if B, "What do you want?" Then B replied, he just wanted to go Theo to destroy Cho Thang T to collapse, but B didn't dare to drag T to death. Theo then Teacher 6 just advised him not to go Theo Thang T anymore. In any case, it wasn't T's fault. Now just accumulate virtue and wait for the first day of Tai Gofter, that he sat and cried for a while. He finally agreed to leave. Then the teacher recited the sutra for Bafter, that the teacher gave T a yellow bracelet for him to wear in his hand when he woke up. Then T felt his whole body lighten, like he had just escaped a nightmare. Then he went home before he could rest. They started running straight to B's house to light a stick of incense for his friend, with a sincere apology to his friend. This time T no longer saw the hateful eyes on the portrait of Band instead. A pair of gentle eyes, just like his friend when he was alive. He thought that Ba had forgiven him and was willing to go to the temple since then. T often bought the food that the two of them used to eat together and brought it to B's house to offer to his friend. Until now, T no longer sees Ba peering again. His life has started to return to its normal orbit. However, he will never forget his ill-fated best friend. If you have read this far, don't forget to give Duya a like and a subscribe.